What's up, guys? Welcome to a special edition of Fresh and Fit. We're out here in the streets of Miami, as you guys know. Sorry for the delay. Shout out to Mo and Bills. They had to kind of set things up without Sean here. So they did a pretty good job for doing it by themselves without having Sean here. Because as you guys know, Sean from Uncensored America is really good with this stuff. But they were able to kind of mimic the setup and make it happen. So we're out here now. Better late than never. What else? Shout out to, we got a lot of guys out here, man. The CC and the OSS are definitely here, which is great after the debacle of last week. So, we got some reinforcements this time, which is good to see. It's a beautiful thing to see. But we're on limited time, guys, so we'll kind of just go right into it. I think we got a line on the side. Here. And, we'll just start getting into discussion. And the question here is, what does it say I see over there on the thing? Okay, we're going to start off with women deserve less, change my mind. That's the beginning. And then we got some other signs as well, so we'll see what happens.
What's up?
What's up, man?
So my question just was like someone like me who's in college, 21 years old, is not quite sure what they want to do yet. What would you like? What type of things would you recommend to start the path to success?
You're 21. What are you majoring in school?
Economics.
Okay. So I would say while you're in school, because if you want to, you can tell me, where do you go to school? Here in Florida?
No, Mount St. Mary's. I play D1 soccer there.
Okay. So you don't pay for school then? You're on a scholarship?
Part.
Partial scholarship?
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes it a lot better. Bro, I would say like try to pick up a skill set, man, that will get you a job immediately. Obviously, the job market right now is really competitive. Having a bachelor's nowadays is kind of like almost having a high school diploma 20 years ago. So, and then on top of that, I think people need to understand that the college industry has really become a business, right? It's been increasing its tuition. More people have been going, and it's kind of saturated the market with a lot of bachelor's degrees. So I would say the way to diversify yourself is have like a skill set that will get you an entry-level job right out of school. Now, with economics, unless you got connections, it might be a little bit tougher to do it with a bachelor's degree. Yeah. But I don't know if it's too late for you to switch majors, maybe into something like accounting, something that will get you a job right away. But for me, when I tell people to go to college, it's always with like something in mind. But for you, it's a little bit different because you got athletic scholarships, so you're not incurring all the debt that like regular college students do.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit more breathing room. But I would say like make sure to have a skill set and build some connections so when you get out, you're not spending 1, 2, 3 years fucking off and not being able to find a job.
Yeah. And I was thinking about either maybe going to like get my MBA or go to law school. What would you think about that?
Good question. If you're going to go to law school, you got to go to like a top 20 school for it to make sense.
Yeah.
For it to make sense. So because that's also a very saturated industry as well. Unless you're willing to go to a, not as good of a school, maybe take on a job that doesn't pay as much, maybe a public defender or something like that, get your litigation experience up, and then work your way up. But it really depends on what kind of lawyer you want to be.
Yeah.
But that's one way to get in. But I would say, like, just, but to make things easy, try to get into the best law school you can. And it's not necessarily because it's like better education. It's because those schools tend to have connections, right? That's why the Ivy League is so prestigious. It's not that the kids are like actually smarter, which a lot of them are, but it's because the connections they have in the professional world is what's invaluable, because you basically go into a network where you're guaranteed a job, right? You graduate from Harvard, even with like a woman's studies degree, you'll be able to find a job, as comical as that is. So it's all about the network from the school.
Okay. So just focus on networking, you would say.
Networking and getting out of school with a skill set.
Okay.
With a skill set. So that's what I would say for the young guys as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No worries, bro. Keep killing it, man. Don't get anybody pregnant.
Hey, Myron.
What's up, brother?
It's a pleasure. It's
pleasure.
amazing to be here.
Yeah.
Shout out to Council Club.
Hey.
Shout out to OSS.
Yeah.
So my name is Aias. I come from actually Brownsville, Texas.
Oh, nice.
I know you have a lot of memories over there working HSI. So I actually wanted to stay on topic for now, right? So obviously, to the point, it's all because of feminism, right? So can you explain where it actually came from, feminism? Just the idea?
The small hats.
Them boys?
Yeah, them boys, man.
Every single time.
Yeah, man. Every single time, bro.
So,
Most progressive ideologies come from there.
okay, so how do we get rid of it? Like right now, how we're at with Donald Trump, everything.
I'll be honest, man, this kind of black-pilled, but we're never going to be able to really stop the spread of feminism,
Gotcha.
right? The thing is that we've almost gone too far now. And I know some people might say, oh, that's really black-pilled, but it's realistic. Like, think about it. Feminists have fought for, what, 60, 70 years?
Right,
to kind of, for this egalitarian society. They're not going to concede all the ground they've taken to say, oh, we want to go back to the kitchen. It's just not going to happen. So really the only way nowadays for guys to get like that submissive woman that's going to adhere to those traditional traits is two things. Number one, you need a girl that has that mindset already, that's instilled from her from a good family,
Right.
and then her willingness to do it, and then you being that guy where she wants to submit to you. The days of being an average guy and getting a girl to submit to you and be dutiful in the United States, almost gone, man.
Right.
Almost gone. So we're in a very strange time now because we have more single people than ever before. Marriage rates are the lowest they've ever been. Divorce rates are the highest they've ever been. And this is the direct cause of feminism, because when women feel like they can do better, they don't settle.
Right.
And then on top of that, we have like this entire blue pill society that tells women it's okay to be a whore. It's okay to be promiscuous. It's okay to have fun in your 20s and then find a guy at 35 to rescue you, when in reality that's not going to happen, right? Because their value from a sexual market value perspective has gone down. So I just don't see it like regressing for them, because they look at it like we've made so much progress. So I think, and this is what when I mean like women get to have the proverbial double dip, where they could go ahead and behave like a man, get the career, go to school, have these masculine tendencies, and then they reserve the right to go back to being a traditional woman if they find the right guy.
Definitely.
What I'm telling guys is find a girl that's traditional like that off rip,
Right.
versus having to be with a woman that is a Jekyll and Hyde type. Because there are a lot of women out there that are like Jekyll and Hyde, and it might look good. Oh, she's a boss babe, but she could be submissive too. That's all good and dandy until she's standing across from you at a family court.
Right, yeah.
That she's going to use her money and her resources to take yours. So I think guys just need to be really intelligent and move cautiously when
Definitely.
dealing with women, because unfortunately, men have way more to risk in marriage and long-term relationships than women do.
Completely agree with you. If I may,
Yeah,
another
yeah.
question about actually from the border cartels. If I may,
Sure.
So I know you already worked a lot with HSI over there on the border, and I actually heard somebody talk about actually special forces, the Mexican side, them talking about some methods that they learned, chemical mixtures to get rid of dead bodies, right?
Okay.
And they learned it from Israeli operators, quote unquote,
Yeah.
right? So I actually want to know, have you ever heard of that going on down there?
I haven't heard about that particularly, just so I can so when I was on the southwest border, I was there from 2014
Laredo, right?
in Laredo. Yep.
Right.
From 2014 to 2018. And I dealt mostly with Zetas.
Right.
But now it's, I think it's Cartel del Noreste now.
Yeah.
So they weren't really, they're already like a paramilitary organization. I didn't hear anything about that because they just had such a tight grip on Tamaulipas that it didn't matter if they hide the bodies. They ran shit, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, with Miguel Trevino and all these guys, Z40, these guys ran shit. So, like, they didn't have to do that. But no, I don't put anything past the Israelis, bro, honestly. Look, as much as I criticize the state of Israel, they have probably one of the best intelligence agencies or intelligence communities next to the United States.
Definitely.
You know, and that's because they have really good technology. That's because they get all the aid from us. It's because they're surrounded by enemies, so they have to be innovative. It's because their military is fairly small and they can't really wage ground wars like that. Right. So they have to rely extremely heavily upon their intelligence agencies to do assassinations. The Mossad is the number one. Sorry. The Mossad has the most confirmed assassinations of any intelligence agency by far. So, you know, they have to be very cunning. I mean, with the pager attack that they did, you know, as much as I criticize them a lot because I know what they're capable of from an intelligence perspective. So they could go ahead and go after their adversaries with, you know, fine-tooth precision rather than bombing an entire area.
Gotcha. One more thing.
All right, we got a line. Yeah, that's fine. One more, and then we'll go to the next person.
So,
hey, guys, if you guys want to get in line, just right here's the line formulating. Okay, cool.
About Kiki Camarena.
Okay, yeah.
How deep does that go?
You know, it's funny. I met his family, man. They had like a
amazing.
They had like a remembrance from him in Laredo like years ago, like 2016 or something like that. You know, I think back then in the 80s was a different time, right? It was a different time. Like the modern cartels now, they understand that killing law enforcement is a really bad move because whenever they do that, they shut the border down and they're trying to find the suspects. Like when they killed Jaime Zapata back in like 2011, 2012, you know, rest in peace to him, because he came from my office. They shut down the border, and it hurt business so bad that basically the Zetas like found the guys that were responsible and like tied them to a tree and told the Americans to go get them.
I see.
Because they understand that, you know, killing feds is a very bad business proposition. So things have changed a lot.
I got you. Okay, that's all.
Hey. All right, bro. Hey, man, shout out to Brownsville. Shout out to the 956. Hey, man.
I say put a 956.
Yeah, bro. I love South Texas, man.
What's up, man? How you doing, bro?
What's up, man? How are you?
Pretty good. It's a good night. Beautiful night. Yep. So I'm actually from Hawaii.
All right.
I came all the way from Hawaii, originally from Houston, Texas.
All right.
And my question is, do you feel like as men maybe like showed more like testosterone and like we're more like men, you know? Maybe more women would be submissive, you know? I feel like we have an imbalance.
Well, yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, so the male and female relationship is adversarial by nature, right? So if one party becomes more masculine, it's almost, you know, a foregone conclusion that the other side is going to be more feminine, right? So as women have started to behave more and more like men with pursuing a career and, you know, getting into male jobs and entering the workforce in general and having this egalitarian society, it has masculinized a lot of women. And, you know, a lot of guys by default are kind of like, oh, well, women make their own money now. It doesn't matter. Because, like, it used to be, like, guys understood that they would be the sole breadwinner. So they understood, like, okay, there's a burden of performance on me. I need to make money to support a family.
Right.
Now guys are kind of like, all right, I just need to make enough money for me. That's all. She could go ahead and bring her 50.
Right, but that the reason I feel like that's a problem is that, like, the imbalance comes from everybody really needing to do self-work. It doesn't just come from women deserving necessarily less. I feel like women by nature should deserve whatever they need to get from the man that's supposed to be a man. You know what I mean?
So I'm confused. What's your actual
So my thing is if more men act like men, then we wouldn't even have the issue of women trying to be masculine in the first place. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I see your perspective. You're saying like men need to step up or whatever.
Yeah, we step up, then maybe they won't have to step up.
But here's the thing, right? So we live in like this world now, right? Where we're constantly shoving down young men's throats that women are equal to men. They could do everything you do.
Right.
You know, women are queens. So it's like guys, like a lot of guys are blue-pilled and they don't understand that there is an invisible burden of performance on them where they need to still perform. This whole 50-50 partnership stuff doesn't work. But see, here's the thing. It takes guys years to figure that out. Because remember, you grow up, you're watching, you know, Netflix or watching the television nowadays.
Right.
Since the 90s, right, we've seen very pernicious television that's kind of put women in like the leader roles and the men as idiots. You look at shows like Family Matters. You look at shows like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like all these sitcoms from the 90s.
A lot of movies growing up too.
Exactly.
Like stay-at-home dads or single moms and things like that. So
or the mom or the woman is like the voice of reason and logic, right? So this propaganda has been going on for decades. So it's very difficult to like unteach young men that.
So what's the purpose of feminism, and like what is it like? If who's making these decisions? Why are they trying to make us have less testosterone and like be less manly? You know.
Well, I mean, the purpose of feminism, there's multiple different reasons why, but I think a big part of it is to double the workforce.
That sucks.
And when you double the workforce,
So it all comes down to money, right?
almost everything has a tie to money to some degree, yeah.
Okay.
And then obviously, like, you know, women complaining and stuff like that, of course, too. But, you know, feminism, man, I don't think people really understand how destructive it is until, like, you get on the other side and you understand, like, that there are inherent gender roles.
Right, but the second that you give people a choice, like this, the second that women started feeling to have a choice, then we can't really just say that they don't anymore. You know what I mean?
They want what?
That they don't have that choice anymore, because there was a point in time where women were getting paid like less and things, but now they have all these freedoms. So you can't really go from giving women all this freedom and then just being like, you know what, I'm the man, you're the woman. You can't do everything that you used to do anymore.
Well, ironically enough, that's what they want, though.
How do you find the balance?
Ironically enough, that's what they want, though.
Is there even a balance? Or is
No, I'm saying they don't want a balanced relationship. And that's the real red pill, is that they don't want a balanced relationship. Media tells you they want to.
It's confusing. It's so confusing. And like, I don't even date because I'm so confused anymore. Like,
Yeah, well, the other thing that's important is,
I'm
like,
so confused.
I think men need to understand that, like, never pay attention to what women say, rather watch their behavior.
Right.
Because if women told you the truth, oh, I want a guy to, like, pull my hair when he smashes me. I want to be
Whoa.
treated like a whore. I want to be dominated. I want the guy to be a leader. I want him to be authority. I want to be confident. Like, if women actually admitted what arouses them and what they're actually attracted to, it would make them look really bad. So these are things that is just not going to be publicly put out there. You just have to get it as a man. Does that make
or
sense?
just know, yeah, like the cues. You're talking about
You just have to know.
emotional and cues, right?
Women don't want to have to explain to men how to be attractive.
Oh yeah, of course.
By revealing the process, it destroys the process.
But what do you think we can do to save this world from feminism and the imbalance that it's causing?
I mean, if
Like, where do we even start? Is it with ourselves?
I'll be honest with you, bro. We can't go back. Like, we would need like an authoritarian dictatorship to get women to get rid of feminism, and that's not happening.
Then we just got to deal with it.
Yeah, really. I think the best way to navigate it in a realistic sense is men just have to adapt, understand this is the new marketplace, and prepare for the new normal.
So how do we prepare for the new marketplace?
You have to become as high status and as high value as you can be.
Okay,
That's
so
really-
I'm working on that. So I'm
Yeah.
doing good. Okay, what else?
Get it? That's pretty much it. And
Okay.
that's just to play the game, by the way. That's just to play the game, right? So, like, you're in a position where you have a fighting chance.
Okay,
So,
so I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
there you go.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, man. Self-improvement's key. Shout out to DPG gifting 50 subs, man. Shout out to you, man. He's here, but y'all can't see him. Classified. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you.
Hi, Myron.
Real G right there.
Hey, thanks for doing this and the questions. You're taking the questions.
Sure.
Two, one, in about 10 years, my sons will be kind of in the dating market. 10 years from now, I want grandkids one day.
How are they, like 10 or?
Well, I always tell them to get married and start their children about 35 plus. And like kind of yours, what you say,
Yeah.
focus on building
I
yourself.
wish we didn't have to wait that long, but yeah, that's the new normal now.
Yeah, I've been listening to your stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm
Ideally,
learning.
I would want men and women to get married at 18, but it can't be done nowadays
Virgins.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
So anyway, so 10 years, 15 years from now, what do they do? I mean, I think I've heard you say the women quality level, or what?
I think the only thing a guy can do is, like, be familiar with modern women, how they move, adapt to that, and then figure out the characteristics that you're not willing to tolerate, and, you know, be able to identify those in women over a period of time. And I look at it like it's kind of like playing defense now, right? It used to be you go on offensive, you go after girls and everything else like that. Now it's kind of like you deal with her and you have to be in a very defensive position to ensure that she can't ruin your life, right? I think men have to – what I tell guys is they got to date from a risk mitigation standpoint. rather than taking a chance standpoint. I tell guys all the time, take chances in business, take chances on making money, take chances on things that will make you successful, but don't take chances on women because they can actually really destroy you.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. That's what I think when it comes to dating now.
Yeah, I love your advice 30 years ago. before I
Appreciate
got
that, man.
divorced, you know what I mean? Okay, last question. I just want to. I saw your last live and all the questions and the chaos. And all,
Yeah. That was wild, bro.
right? Always entertaining. But I do, like, I have Israeli friends, I have Palestinian friends.
Sure.
So October 7th, 2023, what is your opinion? How should Israel respond to that?
That's a really good question, and I'm really glad you asked me that, because that's one of the things, like, hey, well, how are they supposed to respond? So I was discussing earlier with my bro from Brownsville. Israel has the most capable intelligence agency right alongside the CIA, right? They have a fantastic, intelligence service with the Mossad, with the Unit 8200, which is like the equivalent to like an NSA, the Oman, which is like their version of DIA. So they have a very robust intelligence program. On top of that, they have great air power, and they have a lot of informants, right? So, and they've done, and with these, skill sets that they've had, they've been able to conduct the most assassinations. So for me, when I saw what they're doing in Gaza, it's like, dude, you guys could have easily done special operations, go in there, you have informants all over the place in Gaza, take out the main guys, and, destroy it from that perspective. But like the indiscriminate bombing campaign, it wasn't a good move because the whole world was actually with them after October 7th, but now it's like they're losing support all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Are you I assume you're anti-Hamas or?
yeah.
Or,
So
okay.
when it comes to my thing is this. I acknowledge that they're a terrorist organization because they are by definition. But I also think it's important to understand that, like, if we're going to go ahead and be straight to definitions, like what Hamas is, well, the IDF also falls into that category as well. I think both of them are terrorist organizations. It's just that one is equipped and supported by the United States.
I see. Would it be okay to get a selfie?
Yeah, of course, bro. Who's up next? Good questions.
What's up, Myron?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How you doing? So I got a question. I was watching the video. It was debating liberals here in Miami. I am definitely not a liberal.
Okay.
I don't drink enough soy to be one of those fucking people. I'm trying to watch my language. I know you guys are on YouTube. I'm not.
No, I appreciate that greatly, man.
Yeah. How you doing, Mo? So anyway, my question is, the Democratic Party recently did a $20 million investment
Turn
in.
his thing up. Turn up the mics, both of them, because I can.
I'm not close enough. Is this better?
No. We just got to turn up because the music over there.
Okay.
So we got you. It's not you. We'll turn it up. Go ahead.
All right, so the Democratic Party put forward a $20 million proposition. I think it was called.
Are you talking about the big beautiful bill?
No. The Democratic Party in specific.
Okay.
The Speaking to American Men, the $20 million.
Oh,
but they put
yes.
The way they put it forward, though, they did it to a DEI hippopotamus and a fucking guy
yes.
that looks like he's in his early 20s.
Yes.
But he looks like he's still lactating on his mom's tits.
Yeah, no,
Yo.
I covered that. So, my bad. I thought I didn't hear you say Democratic Party. Yeah.
No, it's
so,
cool. Yeah.
so this is a good topic. The Democrats have lost the young men.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
over.
Yeah.
They've lost it, right? Like the young men, because I've talked about this and I'll quickly summarize.
All right, cool.
Since like 2008, right? Since the Obama era, we've seen like this rise in woke culture,
Yeah.
right, and social acceptance. And what's ended up happening is it's cool to ostracize and practice racism and bigotry, reverse racism towards white guys. And for a very long time, white men have been kind of like ostracized and demonized as, colonizers and evil and having all this power, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So, at some point, you got a guy like Donald Trump coming in who's kind of more anti-establishment.
Yeah.
He wins, the election back in like 2015, 2016 against Hillary. I was shocked even. Everyone was shocked. We thought Hillary was going to win. So when he won again, because I think the Biden administration was basically just a third term for Obama, I think that signified that men in general and young men are tired of being like, having the finger wagged at them and like, you're a bigot, you're a misogynist, blah, blah. And the left has completely lost them, the young men, completely lost them. And another part of that too is like this inclusivity that they're trying to do and this progressiveness, right? I think you got a big problem when people like Hassan Piker are your biggest advocates. That's like people don't identify with guys like that. Painting their nails, men typically don't want to do that shit. So
Yeah.
the problem with the Democratic Party is that it ostracizes masculinity. So the Republicans tell you to embrace your masculinity. The Democrats don't. They tell you to be, super accepting of everyone. And quite frankly, that's just ludicrous, right?
Wait, so you're telling me David Hogg isn't the answer to all their fucking questions?
Yeah, and they bring in, you mentioned that hippo that they brought in.
Oh, God, yeah.
That in itself proves that the Democrats are completely out of touch
I know.
with young conservative men. Completely out of touch.
Yeah, not just conservative men, just
Yeah,
men in general.
yeah.
Not even white men, just
Men in general.
Yeah. So my question was going to be, do you think it's actually going to work? And obviously you think definitely not.
Dude,
But-
honestly, I think the Democratic Party is cooked for at least the next 1 or 2 election cycles.
They need like an Obama candidate to come out of nowhere and basically change the party.
They
But-
would need like complete reform, dude. Like
Yeah.
they would need like complete reform where they're no longer, because the thing is, they've always used the man kind of as like the useful, enemy to unite everybody, because typically Democrats, politic on like social issues, abortion, shit
yeah.
like that. But when you campaign from that position of we're victims and we're going to go ahead and help you guys, you have to have an enemy.
Yeah.
And they use successful men a lot of the times as the enemy to push their agenda. They're more into race politics, abortion, social crap,
Yeah.
which
And
women love.
using successful men, though, it's also helped Donald Trump realize that, all right, they're going to use me as the enemy no matter what. So
Yes.
let me take every 80 issue there is, let them fight on every 20 issue, that the 20 side of whatever issue it is, and it's just digging a deeper hole for them. But my question to you is, what do you think that they can do to capture more of that younger man vote? Like, if you were in their shoes, what would you do?
Dude, I think they just need to make a new party at this point. If they want to bring in the young men, they're going to need to make a new party. I think that the Democrat, position is just cooked.
Yeah.
They're going to need to lean on the libertarians, is what I think, and form some kind of new party there. But the Democrats now, as we see them, they're cooked, bro.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning over the young men anytime soon.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So the guy that was just up here was talking about October 7th.
I see we got. How's the line? Okay, they're all in line. How many in line? All right.
You want to
Cool.
cut it?
Last question, and then we'll.
All right, cool.
Yeah, because we got a lot of people here.
The biggest contention I have with October 7th is Hamas did not attack any IDF targets. It went straight for a concert with civilians there. What do you think on that? Like,
Well, they did attack military targets. That's how they were. The response time from the IDF was so slow because they took out a lot of the radio towers and the command posts.
okay.
That's actually why it took so long and why the IDF was so discombobulated when they actually came in to deal with stuff. This is why the helicopters were shooting the wrong people. This is why the tanks were shooting into the kibbutzes. Like one of the first things they did was take out all the communication towers.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But regardless, I want to be clear. Like, the attack on civilians is never acceptable, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm very anti-violence, but I think you can understand something while also not agreeing with it or condemning it. And in my case, like, I understand why they did what they did, but it doesn't make it right. I think the loss of innocent life in any circumstance is a problem. But it just so happens a lot of times that Zionists don't care about life unless it's Zionist life, not Palestinian life.
Yeah, I think collateral damage is inevitable in a war, but yeah.
It's just the ugly reality of war, unfortunately.
Agreed.
But yeah.
All right, thanks, man.
All right, brother. No, good talking with you too.
How you doing, Myron?
What's up, man?
I'm Donnie. I just moved here from Philly about 2 months ago. I attend the Chaplain School of Hospitality and Tourism at FIU. Pause up. I just wanted to speak on a couple of things.
No, you go. You go.
Oh, but I just want to make sure it was good. One of the things was the your thoughts on Margaret Sanger and the eugenics movement and how
Why
that.
it's coming? You're kind of muffled.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. I was saying your thoughts on Margaret Sanger and the eugenics movement and how that some of the ideology could be involved with the
What was the name you gave?
Margaret Sanger and the eugenics movement.
Oh, man. I'm still reading up on eugenics a bit, man. So I don't know. Like, it's not my expertise yet.
Understand.
It's something that I am looking into, but like I'm not an expert at it.
Okay.
So I'm
Do you-
kind of still learning.
From just what you've been reading, do you think some of the ideology could be a part of some of the feminist movement?
Well, what I was looking at was more along the lines of race realism, right? Like IQ levels based on where people are from in parts of the world and stuff like that. That's what I was looking at. But I mean, when it comes to feminism, can you like specify the question?
So basically what I'm trying to get at is, do you think this whole like women should be equal to men coming out of the feminist movement has to do with how Margaret Sanger created Planned Parenthood with giving women the option to be able to abort their children and stuff like that?
Well, I think women are inherently not equal to men, and I think that's the problem. So, it's like, this whole concept that women are equal to men is like putting a square peg in a round hole. Right. It just doesn't work. So, the whole concept is flawed when it comes to egalitarianism, right? Just like with communism, right? It doesn't account for human error, differences between the way people think, or in this case, genders. So, I think they're inherently not equal.
Got it. And so I guess my question would be for you, what would be for both men and women to, because I've seen some of your videos and I support what you guys do. I think it's very important to tell the truth about what, as human beings, what we need to do to move forward in our lives. What would you suggest for men and women to do to be able to bring back this foundation of having the man and woman together and be able to build a family?
I think men have to be meticulous in the courting process and find the girls that are actually worthy of that. Because unfortunately, a lot of women will say they want that on paper,
right, but
behave completely opposite, right? I always say a lot of women want to get married, but they don't want to be wives. So I think men, it's kind of more the burden is on us to find that girl and lock her down if we find her. But, I think kind of just going out and hoping like, yeah, let's just go ahead and turn all these girls into traditional women. It's not going to happen.
Right.
At least in the United States.
No, I understand. Yeah. And my last thing is, so what do you think as a man we need to do to be able to bring out the best in a woman for a long-term relationship?
I think step one is she's got to understand the hierarchy. She's got to understand her place that you're the boss. What you say goes. Obviously she can give her opinion on things and you can bring that into consideration. Right. But you are the decisive leader on everything that matters. If you want to delegate certain responsibilities, that's one thing. Yeah. But I think I think step one is understanding the hierarchy, where that's very difficult for a lot of women to figure out because a lot of women come into relationships saying I'm a 50-50 partner. And I think that in itself is problematic.
Wow. All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
No worries, man. Thanks. Hello.
Hi. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
This is very tall. I'm very short. Thank you. Perfect.
You got
Thank
a big
you
crowd
so
out here,
much.
man. Nice.
My
Hi.
name is Sarah. I am so sorry that I don't know who you are or what is going on here.
No problem. Just some guy with a microphone.
I'm coming in with zero context, zero knowledge, so just wrap that in the entire bubble.
Well, what do you think about the sign?
So that was actually my first question is
Sure.
Why do you feel like you have to make this statement and why do you feel like you have the power to make this statement?
About why women deserve less?
Yeah, like what compels you to talk about this so strongly on the streets of Miami?
Yeah, I think we have a simp problem. Where
A simp problem.
Yeah, we have a big simp problem.
Oh wow, okay.
So
Cool.
lots of guys, don't do their due diligence and make women earn courtship and relationships and put them through their paces. And I think it's caused a lot of problems for guys because I don't think men are aware of the fact that like women have changed significantly over the past 60 years. And being a chivalrous gentleman might not get you as far as it did maybe 60 years ago. Being a nice guy simply doesn't work in, modern day dating because the reality is women, make their own money now. So just being a provisioner isn't enough.
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree because women are coming into new roles that they didn't come into 60 years ago. So I agree with that point, but we're still not making the same amount of money and we're still not able to achieve the same roles. So
Yo, turn her up, guys.
I agree. Can we? Because I can barely hear him as well.
Turn
That'd
him.
be great.
Yeah,
Thank you
turn
so
it up.
much.
Because I have music, bro. All right.
Thank
Sorry.
you so much. So I completely agree that 6 years ago, women had completely different roles than they do nowadays. But we're still not making the same amount of money. And the way that men are treating women nowadays does not reflect that, and also women don't make the same amount of money that men do. So I don't see how that narrative that you're putting out here that women are creating careers for themselves, absolutely, as they should. Still not making the same amount of money, still not being able to do the same things that men are doing at the same rates, and men are becoming more horrible than they were 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So I don't see how there's a relation.
Well, sorry, it's very loud, guys. Well, the thing is this. So you mentioned a lot of things there. So your main disagreement is that my opposition to women entering the workforce?
No, so sorry. So
Because it's really hard to hear you. I'm sorry. You're turning it up right now. I'm like catching bits and pieces and stuff.
Because I'm a woman, so my voice is higher pitched than men's voices are, so it's harder to hear.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you that women are starting to work more. We're starting to build careers. We're starting to build things for ourselves. Absolutely. Which is very new for us, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
So we're still not getting paid the same amount. So we still need to be provided for.
That's kind of by choice.
Not by choice. The wage pay gap is still there, unfortunately. If it wasn't there, we wouldn't be fighting for it. And I work in motorsports. I work in car racing. I work in a very male-dominated industry, and I love it. And I do it because I love it. And that's a very important thing. So that's A.
So before we move to the next one, so you believe in the theory that women earn 80 cents on the dollar of every man, right?
That's not a theory. That's a fact.
It's actually been debunked a million times by any self-respecting
It's not a theory. It's a
feminist.
fact.
I'll explain it. So it's been debunked a bunch of times. The thing that you're referring to most where this, lie or myth comes from? It comes from
Not a lie or a myth, but thank you.
I'll explain it. It comes from all working women versus all working men, right? Full-time employees. But the problem is it doesn't account for hours worked, type of career work, education, taking vacations, industry, etc. So when you actually equalize for the type of work done, women actually make more than men. And they showed this at Google, where men and women, when they have the same exact experience, they have the same education, etc., the women actually earn more money than the men. But the reason why women tend to earn less, than men do, is simply because of choice. Women just choose not to go into higher paying fields. They choose to not go into fields that are more manual labor. They choose not to pick the trades. They would prefer an office job, and they take more vacation and they take more time off. And that a lot of the times hurts their ability to earn more. So there's a bunch of real reasons why women earn less than men, but it's almost always choice-based. And then on top of that, women attend college at a higher rate than men now, and they're graduating at a higher rate, but they're still earning less in some degrees. Mm-hmm. It's because women choose to go into fields that just pay less.
So ask me what field I work in.
What field do you work in?
I work in two fields. I work in finance and I work in motorsports, which is car racing. Ask me how much I make compared to my man of the same rate.
How much?
It's less.
What was that?
I work at $1,000 an hour, which is, to be fair, amazing.
Uh-huh.
But it's less than my male counterpart.
And
it's because of my gender, not because of my experience.
He gets more than you?
All of my male counterparts get more than me for the same exact role, for the same exact thing. And I work in finance and motorsports, car racing. I work in F1, IndyCar, NASCAR, IMSA, and WEC.
Yeah, well, I think it's also important to understand that, unless you have their resume, you don't know. They might be more qualified than you. They might have more experience than you.
They're like my good friends of mine. We have open conversations, and they have told me that I deserve to make more than them because they're 5 years younger than me.
Okay. Again, that's explainable too. Women typically don't negotiate for higher wages like men do. Men are far more likely.
That I completely agree
so
with. Absolutely.
That's another component. So there's a whole matrix of reasons why women earn less. But it's not typically just because you have a vagina. It's typically because of personal choices and decisions that you make. So men are far more likely to negotiate for higher wages than women are because men have a higher burden of performance to provision and to earn money than women do. So I would argue.
How does that mean that we deserve less?
Well, it's got to be based off meritocracy. I'm pretty confident that your counterparts probably have some type of skill set or something that they might not be telling you that they have, which is getting them more money.
No.
Because there's so many different things.
Sorry, but
that can account for it. And let's assume
It's
that you-
because I'm a woman and I'm working in racing.
Okay, well, let's assume that that's true. Let's assume that that's true. That's one instance. The majority of times is because of personal choices that women make at what job fields they want to go into.
I don't know.
But
if
a lot of the times when women go into male-dominated fields, they get in. Like, for example, you're in your field, right? There's plenty of women that get jobs in job fields that they're honestly not that qualified for, but they get it because of DEI, affirmative action, because they want to diversify the workforce.
You just said that women get higher degrees. Like, more women are getting college degrees. So that sounds like more women are getting degrees, so therefore they deserve the roles.
No. What I'm saying is they're getting the degrees and still earning less because of personal choices.
No,
So what
but-
I'm saying is that
That's not what you just
it's
said.
not the fact that they are women as to why they're not making as much. It's because of personal choices.
That's
Men
not what
dominate
you
like
just said.
STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Men dominate
Why
these
do
fields.
you feel that you have the reasoning to talk about this matter? If you are not a woman, why do you feel like you have to sit up here and say women deserve less?
Well, do I have to be a mathematician to say 1 + 1 is 2?
That's not 1 + 1 is 2. That's talking about a different gender. That could be me coming up here saying men deserve less because men are shit. I'm never gonna say that because I don't believe that.
Well, I'm
but why
just,
do you feel validated in order to come up and say that? And also,
I'm testing your logic because what I'm saying is that you don't have to necessarily be
it's not testing
of
my
a certain
logic.
group to talk about certain group, right?
Well, you have to have the experiences of a certain group.
It was because it was written by a woman. That's why I spelled wrong.
Can I ask you one more question and then I'll leave you alone?
Yeah, sure.
If I can have your undivided attention.
Yeah.
Can I ask you to look around at the people looking at you and here supporting you? Whoever is supporting this man, can I have you like raise your hands and say, woo? And can I say, why do you think that's all men?
Because here's the thing. Men can't tell women the truth anymore, and I speak for them. That's why. Because the reality is no one
And
tells
I'm
women.
the only woman in this line speaking up for us.
Oh, no, trust me. There's been plenty of you guys that talk to me. See, here's the difference. Yeah.
You know what? And I will be fucking one of the two people. If I have to be one of the two people, I will be one of the two fucking people because we have been brought down so hard and we are not allowed the same platforms and we are not allowed the same vulnerabilities. So you know what? I'll accept it. And thank you so much for your time.
Again, like I said before, women can openly talk and criticize men, but men can't necessarily openly talk and criticize
you
women.
can, but in kindness, and this is not in kindness.
I've been extremely
Thank you.
respectful. I can't control how you feel.
Respectful is one, but putting a sign up saying women deserve less is not kindness.
Well, this is why women deserve less. They can't understand things logically and get mad.
I'm not. Do you see me being mad? I'm very calm.
No,
I'm calmer than our president, so I will take it.
That's why we can't have a female president, bro.
Hi.
Call me an asshole if she walks away. Okay.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, the wage gap myth has been debunked a million times, chat. Well, guys, all of you here. I'm sure a lot of you guys know this. I said chat. Well, technically, the chat's out here. Real nigga chat. Yeah. But like, yeah, bro, like it's been debunked a million times. Any economist worth his salt understands that the wage gap myth is totally illegal. It doesn't exist. But sorry, go ahead. What's up, man?
Hi, my name is Kenneth. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Sure.
So, who do you think are the agitators of this feminist and their ideals?
Who's the what?
Agitators of the feminist ideas?
Like the leaders of feminism?
Yes.
The small hats.
Small hats. Can you define that?
What was that?
Can you define that? Small hats.
Oh, he's not familiar.
Yeah, I'm not.
Google Gloria Steinem and check early life.
No idea.
I'm sorry?
I have no idea.
No, I told you, Google her and look at early life and that'll tell you.
I see.
Gloria Steinem.
Gloria Steinem? Got it.
One of the main pushers of modern feminism.
Okay, got it. Next question. Why do you think it's exclusive to Western countries that this feminist ideal is?
Why do I think it's exclusive?
Yes.
Well, it's actually starting to not be exclusive anymore. It's starting to actually go across the world. We're seeing it happen, even in countries that were traditionally, totally patriarch dominated. It's starting to permeate all over the world. I would argue in the next 20, 30 years, feminism is going to be globalized.
Oh yeah. So next question. What leads you to become a revolutionary to inform men of this as they have this perspective?
What was that?
Yeah. Or what led you to become a revolutionary to inform men of this and the perspective?
I don't understand your question.
Yeah. So.
Okay. The question is, in your perspective, because the feminists have taken over, so you think American men should be the new submissive? I think you meant to say put sex there. Okay, yeah. And the women become the new breadwinners and authoritative sex. No. So, okay, good question. No. And the reason why that simply can't work is because though that sounds good on paper, women simply can't exist as leaders in a relationship with a man. It never works. Because women have certain biological triggers where they look for survival value in men. And if she is the breadwinner, effectively what you're proving to her is that you don't have high survival value. So she no longer wants to continue to procreate with you. We men, when we meet a girl, we look for a replication value. You know, is she hot? So I can have hot kids. With women, they look at it like, does he have the ability to survive and can he support me so I can survive as well? So we have completely different metrics on assessing the other sex. So when we flip that, it just doesn't work, unfortunately, because of women's biology. They need, you know, and this has been proven, like if a girl like starts making more money than her guy, she slowly starts to lose respect for him, and then at some point she's going to move on because women are hypergamous by nature.
Got it.
We can go to the next guy while you get your next question. Because we got.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Six one. My guy Myron, bro. What's good, baby?
Yo, what's up, man?
My name's Suave Le Finesse, the best promoter in Miami.
Okay.
I actually send girls to your show all the time. I just never met you. I met Fresh already. I met Chris all the time. I work with Charlie. My guy, first of all, appreciate the opportunity. Secondly, I already know your stance on legal marriage in the USA. That shit is a setup. We know that.
Yep.
We don't got to explain too much. Now, I am Muslim, so I'm interested in a religious marriage when I go to the masjid and I get a marriage in front of the imam. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you feel about that?
I think that's the best move.
Okay.
Not having it on paper, doing it through whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim. I think doing it through your religious institution and not getting the state involved is by far the best way to do it.
All right, cool. So at least we're on the same page on that.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, like, a marriage is the best way to raise children within a nuclear family. So you're onto the right
because it's a mutual understanding on both parties.
Yes.
Right. But then there's no legal repercussions if she leaves the situation.
What I always tell guys is never sign a contract with someone that's incentivized to break it. And that's what modern marriage is. So you're on the right path for sure.
That shit is a setup. We know that.
Big setup.
What is your ideal preferred relationship dynamic with a woman or multiple women?
I think guys need to be honest about it if they want to have multiple girls.
Yeah.
Most guys lie about it, and then your girl finds out and she goes crazy.
Right.
So
if you keep it 100 from the jump, she know what time it is. She signed up for it, so she can't resent you as much, even though she's female, so she gonna resent you anyway.
And the thing with you is you can have up to 4 wives, right? If you can support them. So I think being honest about it and transparent is the number one thing to avoid headaches.
So how do you go about that?
I'm just upfront.
Respect.
I'm just upfront because I notice if I'm upfront about it and I put that out there first, then I deal with less problems on the back end. But if you don't put it out up front, you're going to deal with problems on the back end.
Right, because if she doesn't want that, she'll just walk away, and the ones that do want that will stay.
Yes.
That's the strategy, right?
Yes. Yep.
All right, cool. So are you going to get a religious marriage one day? Or
Yeah. Yeah, if I was to do it, I'd have to do it through a religious
But never the
institution.
legal way.
Nah, no state, man.
I respect that.
Hell no. Okay.
That's what I got to say, bro.
All right.
All right, mama.
You're thinking the right way.
All right, I'm back.
Yo.
So, shout out to Mordechai Vanunu. Could you talk a little bit about him?
Yeah, sure. Oh, you want me to talk
Yes,
about him?
yes, please.
Oh, I thought you said, can I talk about him?
Yes.
He was the guy that exposed the Israeli nuclear program.
Right.
He was the guy that exposed that they have nuclear weapons. And the reason why this was so important is because we know John F. Kennedy, one of the best presidents ever,
Yep.
worked his ass off to ensure that Israel wouldn't have nuclear weapons. And I would argue it's one of the main reasons that got him killed or assassinated. So, yeah, Mordechai Vanunu exposed their nuclear program that they had been keeping a secret for a very long time. And the reason why they keep it secret is because there was a treaty, not a treaty, but like a law put in place where we wouldn't give foreign aid to any country that procured nuclear weapons without the IAEA involved. So, and that's what Israel did. They basically have an illegal nuclear program.
Okay.
And to this day, they will not. That's why they publicly never acknowledge it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's pretty much all I got for now.
No worries. What's that, man?
What's going on, buddy? I've heard your commentary on Zionism, and
Yeah.
to build on what he was just saying. So, what would you do? What do you think is? We know the reverberations that Israel has in the Middle East and how it impacts American foreign policy. If you're in a position of power, what steps would you take to either separate us or to fix things?
I would cut all aid to Israel immediately.
Yep.
Cut all aid immediately.
Now, my follow-up to you is, are you anti-Zionism or are you just anti-Jew overall?
Anti-Zionism.
Just Zionism.
Yeah, I mean,
exclusively. Because I've heard some comments. I've seen some breakdowns that you have on the, not the Torah, the Talmud. I've
Yeah,
seen you
like-
break down that significantly.
Yeah, no, I mean, so I don't really read the scripture as much and, dive into it, but obviously there's some things in Talmud that are crazy. Obviously what they say about Jesus and stuff like that. But no, man, I don't have a problem with the Jewish people. I got Jewish people on my team. I have a problem with the political ideology of Zionism, which, colonizes and murders innocent people every single day and displaces them from their land.
What do you see? What's your time frame on what's going on in Palestine? Do you think they're going into the West Bank soon, or do you think they drop it?
They're going to definitely take Gaza. That's a fact. They got Operation Gideon's Chariots going on right now, and they're going to, take over Gaza, and they're probably going to try to move those people to Libya or Egypt or, Jordan. So that's foregone.
What do you make of Trump not visiting Israel, just going to Saudi Arabia?
I think that was a political move to appease the Gulf states, go out to the Middle East, only meet with them. Obviously, he had an agenda. He wanted to get investors, get some money from the Middle East. But
you think the relationship's still strong with Netanyahu? You think it's just show? Trump and Netanyahu.
Yeah, is the relationship strong?
I'm saying him doing that to appease the Gulf states. You think he did that to and completely ignored Netanyahu and Israel?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very complex political situation, right? Because Israel's trying to attack Iran right now because Iran is in a very weak position. So Netanyahu's been pressuring them to do this for a while. So I think what he's trying to do when he did that tour, at least, was kind of remind Netanyahu who the boss is, right? But I also think it's important that people understand that they've had kind of a standoffish relationship for a while because when Trump lost the election on the last cycle,
He made the first call too.
Netanyahu was the first person to congratulate Biden after he felt he got the election stolen. And, rightfully so, because he did a lot for Israel. He, moved the embassy, recognized Jerusalem, gave him the Golan Heights. He did a lot for them. So it was kind of a slap in the face. So I don't think Trump personally likes Netanyahu that much, but I think he has to deal with him because he's the figurehead of Israel.
Sure,
and the Zionist lobby is very
AIPAC,
strong.
yeah.
And, they give him the money. So, he's I think he's doing it. He deals with Netanyahu because of Myron Adelson. It's a necessary evil that he has to deal with. But I don't think he personally likes him. He just understands this is what I have to do business with.
Where do you see the trajectory of like these conversations happening more often? Like they're happening at parties. Traditionally, 10 years ago, very rarely they were happening. So where do you see the country going?
It's good. It's good. I think it's good. I think, the American public needs to be aware of this. Most people didn't even know what Zionism was 2 years ago. So I think it's great to see that people are, taking more interest in this and seeing what's going on in the world because Americans tend to be very closed-minded.
Cool,
so
man.
it's good
Appreciate
that
your time,
people
man.
are seeing
Yep.
this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good questions.
How's the lighting? Everybody give it up for Tina.
All All right, what's up, man?
How are you, sir?
How are you?
Good. Got a question. Tell me your views on, and I don't know much about the show. You walking by, see you, might have seen you a couple times. Tell me your idea of the fact that you're allowed to be with multiple women, but the woman you're with is not allowed to be with multiple men.
Well, it simply comes down to biology. Women are not designed to be promiscuous. It's a learned habit versus men are naturally promiscuous. So women can only have one child per year versus men can have as many as they can, whoever they get sexual access to. So it simply just doesn't work. And I think if we polled most women here, you know, if they had a guy that they love, admired, and respected, they wouldn't want to have sex with other men. But if you ask the guys, hey, you got a girl that you love, admire, and respect, would you want to have other girls? Most guys would say yes. Obviously, there's some guys that say no, but I would argue a majority of them would probably say yes if they could do it without negative repercussions.
Gotcha. So the woman that you're with is a high-value woman, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a woman's, determine higher value or higher status based on the man that she's able to be with. I don't think there's a such thing as a high value woman because I think all women have value.
There's no such thing as a high-value woman.
Unless she's with a higher status guy.
Okay.
Because they all have, let me be clear, that's because they all have inherent value. Versus not all men have inherent value. Does that make sense? Like the average woman has more value than like the average guy in the sexual marketplace.
Okay.
Because women are the protected and vulnerable sex, and they're the ones that propagate the next generation.
Gotcha.
Versus men, we have to earn our value.
True. So you're with a high-value woman who lets you be with other women. Does that really saying she's a high-value woman because you're allowed to go be with another woman and then go home to her, right?
Yeah, she's high value enough to understand, the relationship dynamic. And I think that's a very important trait that women need to understand is who's the boss, right? Like, anytime someone says something like, "Oh yeah, happy wife, happy life," I cringe because that's not good. That pretty much means the woman wears the pants in a relationship. My thing is, I want guys in a position where they're dictating the terms of the relationship, they're dictating how things go, and the woman follows. Mm-hmm. And if she doesn't want to follow, that's fine. But she could be single.
Gotcha. So something happens to you in your life, you hit a low point, go to prison, something bad happens, you have a wife that sticks with you for 2, 3, 4 years. And then, is that a high-valued woman? Is that somebody that you would not have multiple women with, or you'll never change your views on that?
No, I mean, that's a loyal woman. And, if you choose, like, if she held you down like that, like, say hypothetical, like someone goes to jail and a girl holds them down in that process, I would say she's loyal. Like, maybe you might choose, I don't want to step out and have other girls. But my thing is, I just want the man to be the one that's making that decision. Does that make sense? Most guys are monogamous out of necessity versus I want guys to be monogamous by choice.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Thanks.
All right, man. Thanks. Yo.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
I share your content on my platform all the time. I'm Life Coach Eddie. You can find me online, EDDY. I got a couple 100,000 followers, but not like you. You're like super big. So I just want to tell you a little bit about my story, right? About Women Deserve Less. I was married for 15 years, actually 17 years, but 2 years within a divorce. Went up to Massachusetts. We got divorced in Massachusetts. I'm a veteran, former NASA engineer, highly decorated, and my ex-wife was able to create a narrative about me of being abused. She created so many lies, and Massachusetts ate it all up. And I thought it was so ridiculous. So when I was up there, I thought, that everyone was gonna see through it. But she ended up getting sole custody of the kids. And until I came to Florida, where it was more conservative, and they saw through her BS, is when I got my custody back. So I see this happening to DDG too, And, now my platform is all about men's rights. I share your stuff all the time, bro.
Appreciate that, man.
Because I feel like you're on point with a lot of stuff. What do you have to say about DDG and his situation, if you know about it with Haley?
Yeah, no, I'm very familiar. Me and him haven't always seen eye to eye, and we've went back
I saw
and
you
forth
go back
a bit.
and forth about.
But personal grievances aside, what Haley tried to do to him is completely unacceptable. I think he should have his son. And honestly, what Haley's doing really shows what a lot of women can do, where they weaponize the family court system to not just destroy a man's reputation, but also destroy his ability to see his children and potentially even its ability to earn money, right? I think it's very important. And the main reason why I didn't, I stepped up and defended him, even though we have our issues, is because she put a temporary restraining order on him. Now, when you have a temporary restraining order on you in California, you can't carry a gun. This guy's a rapper, right? Los Angeles is dominated by gang culture. So the fact that he can't even carry a gun to protect himself as a rapper, which is a very dangerous job nowadays, I think that's ridiculous, right? And she pretty much put him in a neutered, vulnerable position. So out of spite. So that's my problem. And I'm glad that he's kind of exposing this. And thankfully, he has the resources and the money to fight back and hire his own legal team and get custody back. But most men don't have that privilege, unfortunately.
But I'm saying, even with the resources, the system is set up. Like, she got sole custody right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because this guy, you can tell he loves his kid. There's no reason why he shouldn't have 50-50 custody.
Yep.
I feel like there's not enough discussion talking about men's rights.
None.
Like, a woman can have an abortion, right? But a man can't say, I want to give up my right to be a dad.
Yeah.
We should have that right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't have no obligation to a child for a woman who has the child under, so I'm just saying we need to talk about men's right where it should be automatically 50-50 custody. My ex-wife did the same thing. She went in and I guess the lawyer told her this plan of get a restraining order, do all this stuff. And she did exact same path. So I just feel like a lot of men are going to go through this because they go into this relationship ideally loving their wife. I love my wife like tremendously. But once I seen that she was like lying and doing all these things, stealing money, I was like, yo, this is not right. So I just feel like a lot of men are going to fall into this trap. And I just feel like we need to talk about it more.
This is why, this is why I tell guys, the proposition of marriage in modern society is very dangerous for men because you lose a lot of leverage when you do that. That's why I say never get the state involved, man. They can literally ruin your life. Luckily DDG has the resources and the money but that's just allowing him to even fight back.
Yes.
Most guys don't even have the ability to do it.
Absolutely.
They just lose their kids and they can't fight it. And, I find, you mentioned the whole thing with abortion. I find it incredible that a woman can kill a baby, right, with abortion. But if that baby's born and the guy doesn't pay money, he goes to jail. But she doesn't go to jail for aborting the baby.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy.
So it's wild.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, no worries, man. Thank you. Bringing awareness to a big problem. What's that, man?
Love, bro. I appreciate you. So, I don't necessarily think that the women deserve less, but I think that the man needs to understand that he's the one that's in the position to make it compatible for the both. But the woman needs to understand that she comes second in the relationship. But it's not that she deserves less. It's that the man needs to understand that he's the one that's the foremost. He's the one that's the alpha. He's the one that needs to find the woman that understands that they're match made in heaven. But that means ideally that the man is the alpha. The man's the head of the house. So she don't deserve less, but the man the one that deserve more.
Would you agree that we're in an egalitarian society?
What's egalitarian?
Like equal? Like this whole, the 50-50 type situation?
It's not designed that way.
Well, so a lot of women, and I see where you're coming from, you're saying, hey, they shouldn't deserve less because, it's a different role. Now, if we were in 1950, I would actually agree with you. But now you got to remember that women approach relationships from the perspective that they're equal to you. So in order for you to establish this hierarchy that you just demonstrated, by definition, you have to give them less. They deserve less because that is how you maintain that hierarchy and that dominance is by giving them less and understanding that you're the leader. Now, again, if it was 1950s, we would need to have this conversation. But in today's world where, 50-50 partnerships, egalitarianism, feminism, whatever, you have to almost knock them down a peg, no pun intended, to let them know that you are the leader. So that's why I say that.
So would you say the definition of less is a case-by-case basis?
For sure.
Comparison to the man.
For sure. And
Right.
the reason why I write it that way is because in general, when most men deal with women, they come under the assumption that they're equal. Right? Like this wasn't a problem 60 years ago. Guys
Right.
understood, hey, I'm coming in a relationship. I'm the leader. I have a duty. But nowadays, guys go in a relationship and think, oh, we're equal. Okay, let's split the light bill. Let's split the mortgage. Right? So I have to kind of deprogram that from that 50-50 mindset. Because I'm a big proponent of women not working. I think they should be at home with the kids. I think it's an issue when women enter the workforce in a lot of situations. Or at least be in a position where if you're working, she's doing it electively, right? And it's a job that isn't too strenuous. Because I think the children are the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. So would you say that what we're doing right now is making a difference as far as like doing this? Because I believe so. I think that I'm starting to see a change in women, and I'm really starting to see like men are putting themselves in a position where it's like, you know what, I'm not putting myself down anymore to get on that low vibrational level. So would you say this is a good, it's making a difference?
We're making a small dent, but the problem is that like censorship, shadow banning, you know, politically correct platforms, you know, they banned my friend Andrew Tate, right? They shadow ban us. They kicked us off Meta. I got banned on Twitch, right? So the problem is that we have a, you know, Silicon Valley doesn't understand, I guess, biology to some degree. So our ability to push this message out has been hindered significantly thanks to censorship. Now it's gotten a bit better with Trump in office, but you know, there was a mass censorship campaign under the Biden administration from like 2021 up until Trump took office, because this type of content is heavily suppressed, unfortunately.
Wow. Well, gang, bro, keep going.
Appreciate
what you
that,
do.
man.
Shout out.
Thank you, man. Hey, shout out to DBG, another 50 gifted subs, bro. I appreciate you, my friend. And Mr. Hooligan gifted 20 subs. Shout out to you, man. Hey, what's up, bro? Do you want to get on mic or? Okay, go ahead.
Hello? All right.
Yo, what's up?
What's up? So, you want me to change your mind about your statement, right?
Sure.
Yeah, all right, so.
I'm open to your
So I
interpretation.
just think, like, you have, like, a really broad statement. Like, your whole, like, woman is just too broad of a statement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could say, like, bitches deserve less, but, like, women in general, like, I don't think all women deserve less, you know?
Well, it depends on how you interpret it, man. But what's the,
Yeah.
like, did you want to clarify something?
Like,
or?
do you agree with that? Like, not all women deserve less?
Well, the thing is that they've got to prove that.
Yeah, so, like, not all women, right?
Yeah, I mean, but they have to prove it. And I would say.
Exactly. So if they're able to prove it, then you're going to change your mind?
Yeah, that's still a minority, though.
So, like, you would change your word to, like, bitches deserve less or, like, hoes deserve less, right?
Well, hoes automatically deserve less. But,
Exactly.
But,
like,
it's case by case.
you're brown, right? You're brown?
I'm sorry?
Like, you're brown, right? Your race?
I think so.
All right. Like, you know, what about those girls that wear hijabs all the time? They deserve less, too?
What was that?
Like, you know, the girls that wear hijabs?
Well, I mean, it depends. Like I said, it depends on the girl. Some women kind of understand their roles from more traditional societies. But when I'm talking about women deserve less, I'm talking more from a Western frame.
Yeah, so, like, so your statement is just so, like, American women?
Yes, Westernized women where feminism is, you know, very ubiquitous, yes.
Then I think you should change your statement to, like, a little different, you know?
Well, you're free to change it however you want, and then you push it yourself.
Yeah, so do you think I changed your mind?
Not really.
Like, so, but your statement is broad. You think your statement is too broad?
Yeah, because in general, men need to move that way.
Yeah, I agree, but like, you gotta understand, like, not
We
all
can't
women.
make, we can't make, you know, there's always exceptions to the rule, but there's a general practice that men should adapt to kind of put themselves in a position to mitigate
Yeah.
risk. I don't know if you heard the gentleman earlier, but he was
Yeah, I
talking
know.
about.
For him, I understand. Like, his bitch, yeah, deserves less.
No, but what I'm trying to explain is that there's probably a bunch of guys here right now. who
Yeah,
have
like
been
if they have a
divorced.
bad experience with
Lose.
then yeah, they like those women, yeah. But like if they don't have a bad experience with women, then you know.
You're missing the point. There's a whole institution set up.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
To fuck men up if they don't make proper decisions. So what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying
yeah.
is to
But
avoid
yeah, but
the
like, you
family
gotta
court
understand,
system.
like-
well, hold on, let me finish. For men to avoid the divorce machine, right?
Yeah.
That would absolutely cripple and destroy them, take their kids away from them, take their livelihood from them, kick them out of their own home. Men need to move far more intelligently in today's day and age.
Yeah, definitely. I understand. I know that.
So that's why I say that generally, because unfortunately, this is where we are now in society.
Yeah, I know. It's just I think it's too broad of a statement. Like I have a sister, I have a mother, so you know, and they
That's
definitely
where,
good people.
that's where critical thinking comes in, man.
And like you know, like
You have to be able to critically assess something and be like, okay, does this apply to me or my loved ones? Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, cool, moving
yeah,
on.
so like it doesn't, you know, so it's just too broad of a statement.
I mean, if you interpret it that way and you get offended, I can't
No,
control
I'm not
how
offended.
you feel.
I'm just saying, like, you're the one that said you want me to change your mind, you know?
I don't think you did a good job, but that's fine.
How did I not go to a good job?
I don't think you, because the problem is that you're internalizing what's being said here and kind of applying it through a personal lens versus understanding general statements. might not necessarily apply to you or your loved ones, but it could still apply
So out
to
of
a majority.
100% of women, how many percent deserve less?
I'm sorry?
Out of 100% of women in the world, how many deserve less? Or out of 100% of women in America, how many deserve less?
99.9%.
All right, so what about the 0.1%?
There you that's the
All
ones
right,
you
then can you
give
change
more.
your statement to 99.9%? You accept that 1%? And that 1% is my mother and my sister. You feel me?
Hey, man. Yeah, this guy's funny, bro. All right, who's up next? Hey, and for all of you guys that are watching live, man, don't forget to smash that like button. We're live on YouTube, Rumble, all the platforms. We got what, like 10, 20,000 y'all watching, man. So shout out to you guys. Yeah, we got like tens of thousands watching, guys. So we're blowing up. What's up, man?
How you doing, Mr. Fresh?
What's up?
How you doing? Good?
Good, man.
Mr. Fresh. Mr. Fit. I just want to say I kind of disagree with the statement, women deserve less.
Okay.
I think I just generally men just men need to stop being such bitches, and that's it. They need to.
Yeah, but see, if it were that simple, we would have fixed the problem, and it's unfortunately not
Yeah.
that simple. It's a very complex situation, and right now what we're dealing with is a multi-decade push from feminism, and kind of that's where we're at now. So I get it, because that's a lot of guys come up here and say, just believe in Jesus, just be a man, blah blah blah. It's far more complex than that.
Why do you think so? It's more complex.
Where are you
Because
from?
personally, Croatia.
You're from Croatia, okay.
Yeah.
When did you come to States?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, so
It's
so
different,
you're from
it's
Eastern
different.
Europe. You will notice once you spend more time here, but feminism is pretty much started and has been pushed here. It's still it's seeping into Western Europe, into Eastern Europe and Europe in general as well. But I think you haven't really seen the results of feminism in the West yet, because you've only been here for 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
but things are very different over here, as you'll see here soon.
I mean, I believe women should have the same opportunities to be able to create a career as a man.
Okay.
That they should have the same human rights.
Sure.
And that's it. Everybody can organize their relationship how they want to do it. If a woman wants to be the boss in the relationship and then a guy admits to that, that's their problem. That's how they want to live.
Well, it's not gonna.
That's how you have nowadays.
That's not gonna work. That simply doesn't work. I hate to say it, but like it never works when the woman is in a leadership role in a relationship. I mean, controversial take, but like women are terrible people if they have leverage on you. They're terrible people. They simply don't know how to move when they have power, right? They're gonna disrespect you, treat you like shit. Because the thing is that if woman's your boss, or she's like you're supposed to be her man, you're supposed to be her leader, protector, provider. If she's the one that's leading you, it's gonna masculinize her, and by her being more masculinized, she's gonna be very agitated and annoyed by you being soft, right? Now, does that mean she's gonna break up with you same day? No, of course not. But what's gonna happen is it's gonna what they call death by 1,000 paper cuts. So over a period of time, the disrespect is going to continue to grow and grow and grow. It starts off with her talking back to you. Next thing you know, you're at the Target, checkout line, and she's smacking you upside the head saying you're stupid. So, men a lot of the times don't realize until it's too late that this is something that needs to be curbed from the beginning. And it starts with understanding a hierarchy that you're the boss, she follows you. But if she's the boss and you follow her, that relationship's going to get followed to the end.
I mean, there is cases of relationships where that works out, but I believe generally what you're saying is true. Generally.
I mean, and a couple people have made the argument of, exception to the rule. We can't operate on the exception to the rule, right? If it happens 5% of the time, that's still not high enough to actually, talk about it and actually tell people, oh yeah, let your woman be your boss. Like it's not conducive to success in a majority of situations.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Who's up next? I promise I didn't pick my nose.
I'm not debating or anything. I just wanted to show appreciation because my dad, he raised me without a mother and everything. I have 6 brothers. I take care of them. I cook for them, clean. And it's really important to me to be a traditional woman and to like grow up and to be one. And I feel like basically your messages, I'm sorry, I'm nervous, but your messages that you put out there are important for other women who want to be traditional women, because it's really important. And like
How old are you?
nowadays, I'm 17 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I feel like in our generation especially, like they want to be, you know, more, excuse my language, but hoes and like, you know, go around, do their own thing and be independent. And it's really important for a woman to be a traditional woman because it shows a lot and it shows value. And I just wanted to show appreciation.
No, your dad did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hey, no worries. Pleasure to meet you too. She has a bright future ahead of her. What's up, man? How are you? We need more young women that think that way.
Right here? All right, perfect.
What's up, man?
So, with the statement, women deserve less, my two main issues are, one, it's too vague, and two, it's just incorrect, factually.
Sure.
So, what are your defenses to that?
Okay, what was your other point of contention?
Well, you're talking about how women deserve less because they emasculize men, because they're cheating, because they're doing all this, but men also do the same thing in reverse. And would you say that all men deserve less because there's a few men that are really bad people?
Okay, I guess we could tackle the first thing and then the second thing. So you disagree with the concept that women deserve less?
Yes.
Because you're saying it's too broad.
It's broad, and you're saying, you know, by saying that, you're saying 100% of women deserve less.
All right, so there's always nuance with things. My position on this is we live my position is we live in a society where, you know, women are equal to men. And I think if a guy's going to get a relationship with a girl or a woman and is going to be successful, she needs to understand that you're the boss and you're the leader. So she's got to be knocked down a peg and understand that she's not equal to you so that you can assume your rightful position as the dominant leader. So that's what I mean when I say women deserve less. Also, guys simp too much. We have another problem with guys simping on girls.
Right.
Giving girls money on OnlyFans and shit like that and everything else like that. So
Exactly.
Cry harder.
What I'm saying is it goes both ways. It's not just because some women are a bad, you know, I think it really depends on the person. It's not necessarily the sex, but the person. And if they're just a bad person, then you could say they deserve less. You know, it's not just because women are women that they deserve less. And when it comes to men being the leader, that also,
I think in general, men need to come from the perspective where she needs to prove herself to me. Because you got to understand that, like, we've overcorrected thanks to feminism. Because this is what I call the proverbial double dip. Women can choose to go to school, get a career, and be just like a guy. But at the same time, they could go ahead and choose to find a rich man and, you know, be a housewife. So what I'm saying is, since they have all this leverage in the dating marketplace, right, and that leads to a lot of entitlement, guys need to kind of go in with their eyes wide open and understand that you need to kind of put her through her paces. What I'm basically telling men to do is be extremely selective with women. And here's the thing. Women are extremely selective with us. Women are pickier now than ever before. You know, but I find it interesting when I tell guys to practice the same thing, it comes with a problem. It kind of speaks to the point I've been making forever. Men can have standards, but women can. Women can demand excellence, but men can't. You know, if a man criticizes a woman for not doing her part, he's a misogynist. If a woman criticizes a man for not doing his part, she knows her worth. There's a wild double standard that just isn't acceptable.
I'm not disagreeing with the double standard, but I do think it goes both ways, you know, because what about a high-quality man, using your words? He needs to be selective in finding a high-quality woman. A high-quality woman needs to be selective in finding a high-quality man, because there's trash on both sides of the equation.
No, I would argue that the higher status you are and the more money and resources you have to give them even less. You have to be even more selective.
Well, but here's the thing. Women and men, they need each other, because women provide...
For a family, right?
Not just for a family. Mentally, cognitively speaking.
No, I disagree with that.
Because...
I disagree with that. The reality is men need women to create families, right? And have a nuclear family that's stable. But men don't need women for becoming successful, for being a winner, for making money, I would argue, actually, as a matter of fact, I would argue women are actually a detriment to that cause.
Why?
Because they're a distraction.
See, but that's just so incredibly vague.
So there's so I'll explain to you. My guy, Aaron Clary, he has a book. It's called The Book of Numbers, right? And in the book, he pretty much calculated what the average man would spend in his pursuit of women. Something to the tune of $7 to $8 million, right? Now imagine if he put up a serious relationship for a bit longer, invested that money, focused 100%, grinded, you can become that guy, then decide to have a family and have a woman. Because the problem is that single income is no longer acceptable. So guys have to make significantly more money to be that provider, that protector, that of a traditional sense. So what I'm saying is that the pursuit of women a lot of times hinders men's ability to rise up the socioeconomic scale.
A high quality woman, you cannot put a monetary value on, because she could guide you in making decisions that you could not see because of your own narrow ways of thinking as a man. Because women do have cognitively better ways of thinking in different areas, such as emotional intelligence, that men are naturally not good at.
So here's the thing. Now, are there situations where there are women that can accentuate what you have, make life a bit easier, make it a bit better? Sure. But the reality is a majority of women don't. And the reason why a majority don't is because women don't have the same burden of performance as men do. They just don't. So their proclivity to work harder is not as existent as ours. Because we understand as men, from the time we're little boys, we're taught, get a job, go to school, become successful. Why? So that you can raise a family. Women, on the other hand, are taught, go to school, be successful, so that you don't need a man. So it's completely different. And then on top of that, they have the ability, with the proverbial double dip I mentioned before, to choose to not enter the workforce. So what I'm simply telling guys is the burden of performance is on you, and you have to perform nowadays, especially in this competitive marketplace. So that's why I say guys need to be extremely cognizant of this and be selective on the women that they deal with. Now, I see what you're saying. Oh, there's women out there that can help you. Sure. But I would argue having a network of competent men is far better than having one competent female by your side.
Okay. I mean, I understand your argument, but again, your argument is not necessarily what you're saying in your title, that women deserve less, because you're basing that off of social stigmas and majority of women. And when you talk about women, you're talking about women that you're putting them in like a bad, point of view. And that's just not the case for all women.
Well, that's where nuance and critical thinking and everything else come in. I think, I think the safe way to go is to approach every relationship with a woman from a position of doubt. Prove to me you're not like the others. And I think if more men employed that tactic, we'd be in a better situation.
Right. And it goes both ways. But yeah, that's it.
Well, women naturally already do this. That's the point. Women naturally filter men out quickly. Men don't have this skill set like they do.
Well, they should.
Should, could, and would are fantastic words, but it doesn't happen all the time. And this is why we do what we do, to tell guys, you need to date and think like a woman. But the problem is that a lot of guys don't. And that's why we have the fucked up dating situation that we have now.
Okay. Well, will you admit that women deserve less as a whole is factually incorrect?
No, they do deserve less in general. That's a fact. Most women are not wife material or girlfriend worthy material at all.
Okay. All right. Well,
all right. No line? Oh, everybody's getting tired. Everyone got scared or what? Anybody can step up if they want, man. We discuss whatever. Shout out to Desert Joe, gifted 5 subs. It's me, Matty P, 10 subs. And guys, if anybody wants to come in, we could discuss whatever. Line is over here. Oh shit, what's up, man?
For real? Okay.
Oh, why tell him to get out, bro?
I wasn't gonna talk about that. Question.
Oh, we'll save that for the end. We'll save that for the end.
No, for real, I was gonna talk about the Marine Corps.
Yeah, sure.
So I was actually in the Marine Corps, and so I just wanted to ask you, bro, what branch do you think is the best?
All the armed services, man, have their benefits and have their strengths and weaknesses, man. So I can't pick a best one. All I got to say is anyone that serves in the military, obviously they're a patriot and I respect them deeply.
All right, sounds good. Semper Fi.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Semper Fi. What's up, man?
What's up, Myron?
Hey, what's up, man?
Thank you for having me here. I just want to let you know, man, you are the hero of today's era. People from my country watches you. You know what I mean? That's why I gotta say that. So I got 2 questions I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you wanna?
Hey, you could get on the mic, ladies, instead of talking smack. Go ahead, tell us what you got to say. Say it on the mic. Say it on the mic. All right, go ahead.
You think your mom deserves less? You have a mom, right? You think she deserves less?
Of course.
Why does she deserve less?
No, I'm saying I have a mom, yeah.
And you say women deserve less. Your mom is a woman.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
You think you came out of deserves less? You came out of a woman.
Here's the
Like, you
difference.
wouldn't be alive without a woman.
Well, here's the difference. How old are you guys?
15.
Where's your father?
Where's your mother, you dumbass? Why does that matter? Where's your mother?
Where's your dad?
Where's your mother?
What the hell is going on here?
Fucking moral.
I'll tell you this, my mom wasn't prancing around, downtown Miami at 15. The hell? Bro, what the hell's going on here, man? Go find your dad.
All right.
Yo, I hate being right all the time, man. God damn. We're cooked.
Oh, God.
What the hell? Bro. They should be fucking reading a book somewhere in a library. What's going on, dude?
Yeah. I got a couple questions. I had 2 questions, but now I got 3 questions after this.
Incredible.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
So again, you're the men's hero of today's
Appreciate that,
era.
man.
So yeah, keep doing what y'all doing. So I had 2 questions, but I got 3 now after these ladies.
Yeah.
So the bonus question is: Does women deserve family and children?
A family and children?
Yes.
Yeah, if she's going to be a worthy mother and a dutiful wife, yeah.
They deserve that.
For sure.
All right.
They got to earn that, though.
They gotta earn it. No, but I feel like I say, yeah, women do. Anyway, they gotta earn it. All right.
Yeah.
Here's my other question. Is a problem of dating that one of the problems of dating is that men have forgotten their roles that subconsciously attracts women, which is their self-worth?
Say that again?
Is the problem of dating is that men have forgotten their role, the roles that subconsciously attracts women, which is their self-worth.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that, one of the biggest things women complain about is that a lot of modern guys don't have confidence. So, yeah, no, that's definitely a component.
Yeah. All right. And you think social media is also play a major part against men to?
Oh yeah, I think I genuinely believe that Instagram was probably one of the worst inventions for modern women ever. One of the worst things.
Got you. So here's my last question. How will dating dynamics change if men were required to attend military camp and women were sent to a learning center focused on motherhood and family after high school?
I like that. We can make a sandwich academy for women, and we can make a military academy for men.
Yeah. So
I
men
agree.
work hard and be the provider,
Yeah.
and women be happy with family and children.
Yeah. No,
All
I
right.
mean, regimented structure and scheduling works really well for men. So, yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, it builds discipline
Yeah.
after high school. All right, that's it. Again, Mario, Fresh and Fit, thank you.
No worries, bro. Shout out to Charlie, man. That's one of our guys, by the way. Shout out to Charlie. Yeah, that's one of our guys, bro.
You guys wilding out here, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, man. I'm
No
back.
angry feminists? Come on, man. They always got something to say from when they walk by and heckle, but okay. What's up, man?
That was funny. It's all good. It's all good. We got a great crowd out here. Everybody give yourself a round of applause for being out here tonight.
Yeah, shout out to all you guys,
all
man.
right, all right.
Welcome. We got, how many? We got like what, 10, 20K watching right now?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I just wanted you, if you could, just break down the nuclear family and what it's supposed to represent.
The nuclear family is the backbone of any thriving society. You know, woman, man, kid, maybe a dog, and, 2 kids. And I think that's by far like the most important thing that we need to protect. And honestly, we've kind of went away from it, right? Most kids nowadays grow up in a broken household. And I think that's been a big problem as to why we have the social issues that we have.
When do you feel like that kind of started? Was there a certain time frame or a period of time where
60s.
Okay.
Started in the 60s and then just started to continuously, degrade the society since.
What do you think it caused? I guess that
Okay, so feminism alongside the birth control pill, alongside free love, these 3 things working in tandem since the 1960s has basically, created what we have now.
Wow. And is there anything that we could do just, I would say here in Miami, to start off, or anywhere in the world to kind of bring that back to where it's supposed to be? Or do you think we could even come back from it?
again, I hate this black pill position that I'm going to give, but I don't think we're not going to unfeminize them. I think men need to understand that this is the environment. Find the girls that don't align with this pernicious feminist ideology and make those girls your girl. Now you got to kind of, go through the sand. It used to be, and I want to be clear about this. Prior to, feminism and, all these things that came out, there were things in place that kept women in check. Religion, the family, stigma, stereotypes. All of these things kind of kept women from doing certain things that would hurt their image, because not only would they be shamed, but their family would be shamed, their father would be shamed. So these, what I call society training wheels, kept women honest. But now a lot of these things have eroded. And if anything, we've given counterproductive advice to females. So knowing that this is where we stand now, men need to be cognizant of this stuff and move accordingly, and understand that, women now have to earn your courtship versus them coming pre-assembled from a good father.
You said they need to do what?
They need to earn your courtship, because the days of because it used to be the father prepared her for you. He told, like the young woman over here, her father prepared her properly, right? Hey, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's taking care of her brothers. Like, he prepared her properly, because at some point she's gonna have a man and do that for her. But unfortunately, most women don't have that benefit of having a strong father in the household that gives them that positive masculinity of, this is your role and this is what you need to do. Because it used to be the dad prepared the woman for marriage, but now we don't have that anymore. We have an unmarried woman that says niggas ain't shit all day, that listens to Sexy Red, that thinks being promiscuous is cool. She's the one raising the women now, telling them know your worth, and also single ladies, all this other stuff. And that's a very, at surface level, people think, oh no, it's just her being independent, but it's actually far more destructive than people think.
Now, would you relate that to, because I watched the video you were saying about earlier, about the situation between Offset and Cardi B.
Yes.
Is that an example that you could probably say or go into?
Yeah, that's a fantastic example, right? This is him getting with a woman that used to be a sex worker. This is precisely why I tell men, stay away from women that are entertainers, former sex workers, etc. Because unfortunately, they just don't have certain foundational belief systems to respect a man's authority and be in a long-term relationship. And then the fact that she has money, status, it makes her ability to replace him even easier. So that was a nightmare. Former stripper, all this other stuff, and she's ghetto too. So it's like,
and then
that's
you
a
were showing
nightmare.
her live and everything, and it was kind of seeing her reaction to what the pain.
And I also want to bring attention. It was her that was going on Instagram Live and Twitter Spaces, putting everything out there. Offset didn't really say shit. He was quiet about it, right? But what did she do? She felt the need to go to the internet and try to destroy him publicly. And this is what ends up happening when you deal with women that aren't classy, right? Because if anything, like, it makes her look bad. Oh yeah, I could go fuck out some niggas too. That's not a W. But we these female rappers try to tell women like, oh yeah, just get your get back. He cheated on you, go smash some dude. But that doesn't help. It actually hurts you.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, I would agree with that. I definitely think there is an issue with our society, especially here in the Western world, with showing women, oh, you could be like this instead of
Yeah, bro, we're cooked. Like
yeah, it's over.
Like those two 15-year-old girls pass by. Like, what are they doing? They should be studying for the SATs. That's preposterous. Where's their father? Right? And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is where we are now. Right? Like, incredible. This is why strong dads are so important, man.
Yeah, I feel that, man. Well, I appreciate you very much. All right, guys, give it up for Marvin one more time. Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, man. Shout out to Nightly Wisdom. Shout out to the crew. One Chest 8-pack trucker says, y'all should sell Myron's book there just in case people want to buy. I'm sure people in the audience will want to buy. I'll do that next time. He's talking about my best-selling book, Why Women Deserve Less. It really is an Amazon bestseller. I'm not kidding around. And you know what category was #1 bestseller in? Feminist theory. I know they were pissed. Man, was it? Yeah, hey, it's available on Audible too, niggas. So, okay.
Hi, how are you? My name is Kat. Nice
Hello,
to meet
Kat.
you. Why do you think that women deserve less?
Because they've been getting more for too long.
What?
Because they've been getting more for too long.
Okay, what is more?
What is what?
What is more?
Simps, people, pedestalizing women for nothing more than the fact that they have vaginas. Suckers, just giving them courtship, not making them work for relationships or any type of commitment. just preferential treatment, like a whole bunch of different societal simping for females.
But if you think that, you know, men are like stronger and physically,
Men are superior to women in every way.
okay, so doesn't that mean that we
And
should
that shouldn't be
cater?
controversial to say. Like, men are superior to women in every single way, but that's like controversial to say, which is absolutely crazy to me. But yeah,
So don't you think like because of, you know, their physical strengths, they should be the one catering to women, not per se like giving them a lot more like protection in a way, or like guiding?
that's a fantastic point that you made.
Mhm.
And I actually agree with you.
Okay.
Since they're the more vulnerable and weaker sex,
Yes.
they should be protected. They should be provided for, right? And what you're referring to is chivalry, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who kills chivalry, men or women?
I think both.
The correct answer is women kill chivalry.
Yeah, that I can agree with that too.
So what ended up happening, right? There's a reason why the phrase "nice guys finish last" is so prevalent in Western culture. Thanks to feminism and thanks to progressivism and liberalism, women simply don't respect or care about male authority, and they just want to get the best guy that they can get. So what's basically happened is we've had kind of like a correction where now guys don't feel the need to be chivalrous to women anymore. It used to be a time when, you know, women behave like ladies and they would get treated as such. But nowadays,
Yeah.
there's no need since they're equal.
Mhm.
So I would argue women kill chivalry, the very thing that they want.
Okay. I feel like it's both though, because like women, they can open or close that door, but men can also offer. Like I feel like since like, would you agree that men should be the one going after the woman, or do you think that it should be coming from both?
Traditionally speaking, men should be the one that are pursuing.
Uh-huh.
But once again, due to this very asymmetric dating marketplace, you have to be cautious about doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So an attractive woman, we're here in Miami, right? So an attractive woman in a major city tends to have guys in compartmentalized roles. One guy will be Uber, another guy will be mechanic, another guy will be sex, another guy will be sugar daddy. So since women, you know, have kind of adapted to the new normal, guys need to be cognizant of this and act accordingly and make women earn that chivalry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a case-by-case basis. But what I'm arguing is that most of the time by this case-by-case basis, most women simply wouldn't qualify.
Okay. What is the qualifications though?
A traditional female, which most women are not, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. But so is it a traditional beliefs or like?
Yes, like you know, a traditional mindset where, you know, she automatically understands, you know, the hierarchy of my man dictates things, I follow him. I'm not I'm not annoying, I'm not problematic, you know, I make his life easier. But unfortunately, a lot of women don't do that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I brought girls on my show and they say stupid stuff like, "Oh yeah, like don't you want a woman that challenges you?" And I'm like, no. Not at all. Like, we already got to go out to the world and get a challenge.
Mhm.
Last thing we want to do is come home and deal with a rambunctious, loud, annoying woman that wants to sit there and challenge you. That's very annoying. But this is what we tell women. We actually teach them how to be less attractive to men.
Mhm.
And men can't speak up and talk about this because if they do, they get canceled or they get, you know, censored or whatever. Some of the biggest voices for this, you know, they canceled my guy Andrew Tate. You know, they've shadow banned us. They've kicked us off Meta. We got banned off Twitch. So they don't want this information getting out there because they think it's hate speech.
Mhm.
But the reality is it's not hate speech, it's the truth. But that's what they do to censor people that they don't like.
Yeah, because like I can agree with you in certain scenarios. Like I do think that men have a role of like positioning themselves first, and women are kind of like submissive in a way. Like we help, right? But I also think that like there's obviously a communication that needs to be had where it's not like slave master or dog and owner. It's more like it's like two individuals that have different roles. Women have a role and a man have a role, and because they have those roles, they're kind of like uniting for a greater good together. And it's like not that we're less than or more than. It's more like because of your what you have that I don't, I can help you with terms of what you like. I can help you with things that you don't have. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's like it equals each other out. Not that I'm not saying like equality, but I can say that men are stronger than me or they can be smarter than me. It's true, but it's more like because I realize those are your attributes, I have other attributes that could help each other. So it's not like a better or greater or worse. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, that's a productive way of categorizing it, right? That's some critical thinking skills, which is good. But a lot of girls don't think that way. They think I just need to be pretty and exist.
Okay.
Right? It's a more of a what can you do for me type mindset. And, you're here to get me. I don't need to necessarily do anything for you. So, I wish more women had that critical thinking like, okay, he's really good at this. Let me kind of come in and fill in other roles.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of women don't do that, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I just think it's because, like, when you say women deserve less, it's like immediate, like, oh my God, like.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a majority of situations, women do, though, deserve less, right? Because they have this egalitarian mindset where they think that they're equal to a man, but at the same time, they want a guy that's superior to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Women want taller, more money, more competent.
Yeah.
But then they expect you to treat them equal. It's not a good trade for us.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for talking to me.
No worries. Thank you.
How you doing, brother?
Yo.
All right, I got a couple of questions for you, my boy.
Sure.
I've been watching you for a minute.
Okay.
I wanted to know what you mean by women deserve less in the sense of what type of woman are we talking about? We talk about women or bitches or hoes, like or all women.
Well, what I always say is, assume that she's not a quality woman until she proves you wrong.
That's fair.
Come from a risk mitigation standpoint.
Okay, so assume the worst and then get surprised by.
Appreciate that, man. My
no,
guy.
the fuck I don't, nigga.
Huh?
He said I suck.
No. He said I fuck with your shit.
Oh, I thought you said I suck.
No. He was like.
You heard that, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah. So I think guys need to come in from a skeptical perspective.
Can I ask you one more question, real quick?
Yeah.
How much responsibility do you put into women deserving less on them versus men? You were talking about Instagram earlier, and I wanted to ask you how much blame do you put on women for Instagram versus men giving attention away?
I don't understand your question.
So you're saying women deserve less.
Yeah.
But why do they deserve less? It's because men constantly give them attention and give them finances and give them opportunities to live a richer lifestyle without them having to really do much.
Yes.
Wouldn't you put that responsibility on men giving it away so freely?
Yeah, I mean, guys need to understand their worth. That's one of the biggest problems I actually deal with. Like men, chronically undervalue themselves while women chronically overvalue themselves. Like the two ladies that just passed by, they looked at the sign and they were shocked, right? And their shock literally proves what I'm trying to say, where they think I deserve more just because I have a vagina.
It's because those words are polarizing, I would assume. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. But what's funny? If I was in Saudi Arabia and I had this table up, nobody would be here.
That's facts.
That's the difference.
This grabs attention. I understand the marketing
because they
scheme.
understand, like in Western society where women believe in this egalitarianism, like it's shocking for them. But if I put the sign up in Qatar, Dubai, UAE, whatever, any of these Muslim countries or even Eastern Europe, if I put the sign up in Romania, they're like, I agree. But that just goes to show how blurred the gender norms are here in the West.
It's definitely different in 2025. I guess my last.
Oh, it's getting worse and worse every year.
How do you feel about that? Like, just internally, just when you're, up at night by yourself and you're thinking about the way that the world is changing, does that motivate you or does that make you feel like, damn, what the fuck is going on right now?
I mean, honestly, the only thing I can do is be a voice, a dissenting voice, and, hope people wake up. A lot of guys got to get their hand on the stove and get burned for them to realize. But, more guys are waking up every day.
A fair point. My brother.
No worries, man. Let's get somebody that hasn't gone yet. Oh, he's trying to go. Okay, go ahead.
I was just here before. My boy's trying to holler at you too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
What's up, man?
My name is Brian. I'm from New York, and I don't necessarily disagree. With your argument. I just wanted to play devil's advocate and kind of just pick your brain a little. And
all right.
I just wanted to play devil's advocate and kind of see like what your logic was behind, like the premise behind your argument. Women deserve less. I feel like he said, that's also kind of a broad statement. What do you think women deserve less of? Do they deserve less love? Do they deserve less money? What is it that they deserve less of?
Well, on the cover of my book, I put, a dollar sign, relationships, social media, and time. So basically, less of a combination of those four things. And I think guys need to make women earn it.
So they
Not just giving up front.
So they deserve less of everything, essentially, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, unless they earn it, yeah.
So what are some things that they can do to earn more?
Not be a whore. Be polite. Be nice. Be submissive. Respect male authority. Things like that. I mean, men are very easy to please. Women overcomplicate men, right? And they just, the reason why they overcomplicate men a lot of times is because a lot of times they don't want to do what men actually want, which is be quiet, listen, respect. But that's kind of where we are now, where it's like, girls just don't want to do what they're supposed to do. Well, to get a guy a lot of times.
Right. Earlier you said around like 99.99%
Yeah.
of women deserve less. So what about like the men who are in a happy relationship with their women and they think that, women provide a lot for their lives. They nurture them, take care of them, stuff like that. Do you think?
No, that's great. I mean, like, look, if they're in a relationship that they're happy in, my thing is I just want guys to have choice, and I would caution them that if they're not the decision maker and the leader in their relationship, it could end soon. So I think men just need to be cognizant of the fact that there is a hierarchy in your relationship and you need to be up top. Because if you're not, it's going to be an issue for you later on.
Okay. And I also had a question. I recently got out of a relationship.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was a lot of like stress because she kind of like was expecting me to be a full-time provider basically. And I feel like I'm not at the point in my life where I could, be a full-time provider. And so I feel like it was a big like burden on my part. But do you feel like that makes me less of a man? And do you think that makes me deserve less?
This is why I tell guys to focus on their career and making money. Another guy came up here earlier saying like, oh yeah, a woman can accentuate you, whatever. Look, that is true in some regards, but women want a guy that's pre-assembled. Just, we got to be honest here. Women don't build, they move in. They prefer for you to already have it there, and then they come and make it better. They want to decorate the castle with their drapes and shit like that. They don't want to build the castle with you. So I think men need to be aware of this and understand that you need to get to a certain point. Then you could go out and date so that you can command that respect from your girl. So you're a young guy, man. I would say focus on yourself, make money, get your status up, then go ahead and enter the dating marketplace.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I'm conflicted on is I see your viewpoint, but I feel like if I get to the point where I'm stable, how do I know that a woman actually loves me for who I am and not the things that I can do for her?
That is why you got to vet her for 6 to 12 months. That's where the vetting process comes in.
All right. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right. Follow me on Instagram, ctv.briann.
Yeah. All right. Fire round. Let's get one question and then bam, right up. What's up, man? We're gonna wrap up here soon too, guys, because we've got a certain amount of time.
If it's cool, I'll do two quick questions with you. All right, so I notice a lot of women around here, and everyone here has, that say you were born from a woman, obviously, but don't want to come up to the mic. What would you say to them?
Well, when women make the dumb argument that you came from a woman, this is a low IQ comment because, well, a man inseminated you to make that happen. It's a two-way process.
Exactly.
But, it's just, that's typically the common response. Like, oh, what about your mom? Or, you came from a woman, which is like just a low IQ, debate tactic. It's actually comical. It's like I can almost predict when they're going to say that.
Yeah. And what is it? Yesterday, the whole Trump versus Elon thing went off. What is your thoughts on that shit?
Yeah. So I'll be honest. I don't like. I have my problems with Elon Musk. Right? He took my blue check away on Twitter. Me and him went back and forth a little bit on Twitter, and because I was opposing the H-1B visa program, and he got mad and he banned a bunch of right-wing commentators. So the thing is that I don't think people know he's very unlikable, right? Because when you have that kind of money, you got that fuck you money, like you don't feel like you need to listen to anybody, your ego, etc. And Trump is kind of the same way. And we kind of saw this coming. And I think it's also important for people to understand that Elon Musk is a liberal. He's not a conservative by any means. He's literally a neoliberal. So For him, you know, he was a DeSantis supporter before that. I'm almost certain he probably was part of the Democratic Party before.
Yeah.
So he understood that aligning with Trump after he was shot in Butler,
exactly.
Pennsylvania, was going to be the move to kind of put himself in a good position. This is why Mark Zuckerberg, this is why, you know, Jeff Bezos, all these tech losers that are career Democrats kind of came around Trump at the end to kind of preserve themselves, right? Mark Zuckerberg, who runs obviously Facebook, the biggest censorship regime, comes out and say, oh yeah, we're going to have more freedom of expression. It's all self-preservation bullshit.
Yeah. They all wound up going to the inauguration right afterwards.
All these tech guys are cucked.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Does the Western world need a Putin to correct everything when it comes to feminism? And in one of your videos, look, man, I think Putin gets a very bad rap. I'll say this. Putin had more justification to invade Ukraine than we had to invade Iraq in 2003. That might be a hot take for a lot of people, but, you know, there was no reason that we invaded Iraq in 2003, but it definitely makes sense why he invaded Ukraine in 2022. Who's up next? We got like a few minutes here. Nobody else? Everybody terrified? Come on, man. Everybody scared to step up, huh? Or stumped? God damn it. Where's a feminist when you need one, huh? She brought up the wage gap. That's what I'm like, God damn, bro. What is it? Yeah. In 2002? Like, what's going on here? Wage gap. Now, we got a little bit of time. Go ahead. What do you got to
Can
say?
we go together real quick?
Yeah.
All right, so obviously, you know, we've seen like a lot of your videos and stuff, and we were just wondering, like, we're both like Christians. How do we, in today's society, where do we look for the highest quality of women?
It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough.
We've noticed that.
How old are you guys?
We're both 18.
What?
Yeah.
We're both 18.
Really?
Yeah.
Swear.
We do social media.
Yeah, we make content.
Damn, I thought you guys were like 15 or 16 or something.
I mean, I think
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I thought you guys,
I think it applies either way. Like, where do young men that are trying to, like, you know, be the quality that you want them to be, like, where do we find the quality women?
You know what, dude? I'll be honest with you. I don't even think you should have any business dating right now.
Yeah.
I think you should be building up an empire and
Yeah.
you know, building up your last name so that a woman one day will want to take that last name.
For sure. Okay.
Because the problem is that at 18 years old as a man, you guys are basically useless. Let's be honest here, right? I talk shit about women all the time, right? I make jokes.
Yeah.
But the truth is that at least an 18-year-old woman holds value to society.
Yeah.
Men at 18, we're useless. And I remember when I was 18, right? Like, we have to, you know, go through trials and tribulations and, you know, go through some suffering. So for you guys, I would say focus on building up your last name, your status, your income, and then the women are going to come from there. But don't focus on girls at all, bro.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate
No worries,
it, bro.
man.
Have a good one.
Keep killing it, guys. All right. Nobody else? 2 minutes? All right. Go ahead. What's up?
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Women deserve. Thank you. Women deserve less. What? Less than men. Less than what they have now.
Basically, they deserve less as far as like men simping on them.
Men simping on them.
Yes.
Okay. And then these kids had asked for where to find a quality woman. So I'm curious to what your opinion of what a quality woman is.
It's kind of simple. Not a whore. Polite, nice, submissive, friendly.
Okay, so then what's a high quality man?
A lot more than that.
Okay.
You know, a guy that has competence, confidence, is successful financially, has the ability to have excess resources and take care of a family, loyal to his partners, you know, honorable, physically fit, a lot of different things.
Okay, and then when you say women deserve less simping from men,
Yes.
what would you consider simping?
Basically the unreciprocated attention giving or resource giving to women that are not worthy, which is unfortunately tends to be a majority.
Okay, so for the instance of in a relationship, I'm assuming giving something and it not being reciprocated is what you mean by women deserve less?
Yes, because a lot of the times men overinvest in relationships with women and women don't reciprocate.
Okay, and don't you think women deserve less is a pretty harmful statement just for wanting to say that people in relationships should be give and reciprocate the same things? Isn't that the issue? What about a woman of quality, as you're saying, is giving and it not being reciprocated?
That rarely happens because most of the time women are smart enough to understand if a man's not providing something of value for them, they leave. Men don't have that skill set. Women are very, this is going to sound fucked up, but women are resource extractors. Men are resource creators.
Resourceful.
No, resource extractors.
Okay.
Men are the ones that are resourceful to create the resources. Women come in to take those resources. So men need to be the one that are being a bit more critical on the women that they deal with. The problem is that we teach women to be picky, but we don't teach men to be picky.
Okay, so I think that there's some things that I can agree with you. I just think that your statement, I think your statement is insane. I think that what you're saying, I think that people in relationships definitely shouldn't take advantage of other people, and if they're expected to reciprocate certain things, that they should, but saying women deserve less I think it's a harmful statement to women as a woman.
Well, that's why women deserve less, because they get triggered off anything.
But women deserve less what? Simping by men?
Yeah, and a
Because
bunch
they
of
get
other things
triggered?
within relationships as well. I don't think they should have positions of power in the government. I think they should be focusing on having families. I don't think they should be CEOs.
Okay, so I honestly don't even understand what your argument is at all, and I have no more time left. But thanks, I guess.
All right, no worries. All right, guys. Guys, I'm gonna be live tomorrow, 5 p.m. I'm gonna cover the Diddy. No, sorry, on Sunday. Gonna cover Diddy case for you guys as well. Break that down. It's going crazy. I might go to New York next week, chat, to cover the case. So we'll see what happens. I might leave Sunday or Monday to cover the Diddy case in New York. So check it out, guys. Obviously, subscribe Fresh and Fit. We're running a CC Premium, CC17. Get in Council Club now, guys. 50% off. And hope you guys enjoyed the stream, man. Had a lot of you guys watching, man. It was a good time. Peace.